And because sleep is so sacred, because we need to honor sleep, that's why we need to make sure that we treat it as such, because this is one of our main ways of rejuvenating our body. We understand how important it is. We understand how just how crappy it is to not get enough sleep. At least I do. I'm telling you, I remember, I can feel it. Welcome to High on Self-Care. I'm your host, Stacey Zeal, yoga teacher, crystal lover, high-functioning stoner, and CEO of MaryZeal.com, a community for stoners who love cannabis and are looking to prioritize their self-care. On this podcast, we'll explore ways that meditation, mindfulness, yoga, and of course, all things weed can help you to elevate your self-care. We'll explore ways to truly value ourselves, use stillness for self-discovery, and cannabis to go higher on our journey. Think of me as your sister stoner who lovingly encourages you to prioritize yourself and reap the benefits of this magical plant. If you're ready to create a life that holds space for your most valuable asset, that's you, by the way, take a deep breath, light your J, and let's dive in. Hey peeps, welcome to High on Self-Care. My name is Stacey Zeal and I'm so excited that you are here. We have another awesome, amazing topic for you today. And if you are new here, welcome. This is a safe space for us to discuss cannabis as self-care, how to do that inner work to really get to our abundance and to to live our best lives, honestly. And so I hope that if you are new, you subscribed. If you've been here before, you've been rocking with me forever, thank you so much. I so appreciate you. This podcast has just been growing so much and I'm so excited. So I love it. So I'm so excited. We are in a new month. It is July. And so last month we talked all about energy and how to protect your energy, how to cleanse it, all that kind of stuff. We had such a great episode. So make sure that if you are looking for some energy work, some information about energy, about making new friends that energize you and all that kind of good stuff, make sure you listen to some of the past episodes from last month. So in this month of July, this month particularly, we are talking about why rest is essential for growth. And that is the theme of all the episodes this month. So what we have coming up is making time for rest, like making space and time in your life for rest, hobbies, how to create hobbies for rejuvenation, surrendering and manifesting, and how to create a high meditation practice. So we have such good things coming up. So make sure you subscribe, follow the podcast, so that you don't miss anything, so that you don't miss any episodes. And today we are talking about how to create your own evening routine. It is essential, y'all. Essential to getting a good night's rest. So we're going to walk through that. But before we walk through that, I want to tell you about something so exciting that is coming up on July 24th. I am hosting a Sleep and Slay Stoned workshop. So this workshop, y'all, let me tell you, you are going to learn how to get the best consistent sleep of your life without needing sleeping pills, without needing any other sleep aids. So y'all know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know my story, you know my connection to sleep. If you're new here, I need you to understand how much sleep matters to me, okay? So I have insomnia, and for the longest time, I ignored my insomnia. I was just pushing through and, just thought it was normal, right? So many people have sleeping problems. And so I fell asleep driving. Okay. And that was my wake up call moment that it was time to take this insomnia thing seriously, that just pushing through it is not going to work for me. So I won't go into all the details just yet, because we're going to talk about that a little bit in this episode. But essentially this workshop, I'm going to teach you everything I know about how to use cannabis for sleep. I'm going to teach you how I fixed my sleep problem, how I deal with my insomnia, what exactly I do to get great, amazing sleep at night now that I have, turned to cannabis as my way of sleeping. And I still take it to this day. I have insomnia, right? So this is something I have to do every night, even though I use cannabis for so many other things. But sleep, is something I still need to, it's still a challenge for me. So I make sure that I smoke before I go to sleep. And it is amazing. So I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know to create your own evening routine that's going to build on what we talk about today. You're going to understand which products and which strains I use for sleep. So you're really going to get a deep dive in everything you need to know about how to use cannabis for yourself to get a good night's sleep. So if you're someone who struggles with sleep, if you're someone who knows someone who struggles with sleep, please visit my site, maryzeal.com/sleepslaystoned, or go to the show notes. It's going to be in the show notes as well, and below this episode. So make sure you go there and you sign up for that workshop. Again, it's July 24th. That's a Saturday, so you have to give me a couple hours of your time. I'm gonna tell you how to change your life by getting consistent sleep. So make sure you do that. So today we are going to be talking all about how to create an evening routine using cannabis so that you can get a restful night's sleep, right? It's more than just, hitting your joint before you go to bed, right? You have to create an environment, and we're going to talk about sleep routines and all that kind of stuff and some of the science behind it that I've done some research about. But first, let's talk about why rest is essential for growth. Let's start there because that's the theme of the month. That's what we're going to be talking about. So let's start with the why. So rest allows you to recharge. It allows you to rejuvenate. Your body has to rejuvenate. Your mind, you have to rest and rejuvenate to recharge, right? That's how our bodies work. We need rest. And also the thing about rest is that sometimes when you're so focused on the thing, on doing the thing, accomplishing the goal, or going through life, and you're not taking a break, that's how you end up burning out. That's how you end up blocking your own creativity because you don't have time to you don't even have the space to think or to create, right? So it helps you. So stepping away helps you to spark new ideas. Rest helps you to reflect. It gives you the time to reflect on what you have done, right, or what you're currently doing, the current path that you're on, so that you can move forward, right? Sometimes we get so caught up in going forward and doing all the things and all the shit that we forget to take a beat and really think about, what have we done? What has gotten you here, right? Is this current path that I'm on right for me, right? And all of that stuff comes in rest. Think about when you go on a vacation, right? If you've been on a vacation, you come back to work or to your project, to whatever you're doing, or to your school or something, and you're refreshed, you're ready to go, you feel you feel more clarity in your brain, all that kind of good stuff, right? And one of the examples I'll use is nature. So we think about nature, right? Nature has seasons for rest and storing energy, and then periods for growth and expansion, right? So think about plants. Plants store energy, right? They have times when they are storing energy, when they're just developing and they're storing energy, right? And they're dormant. And then they have times when they are growing and blooming, right? There's seasons for rest and there's seasons for growth. We need both, right? We need both rest and we need both growth. Okay? And so I looked into this article on Forbes. So stepping away, this is what Forbes says are some benefits for rest. Rest, one, it helps to heal. It helps your body to heal, right? Physically and mentally, right? It helps you to heal. It reduces stress. So it takes you out of fight or flight mode, right? Usually during the day we're thinking about this, we're thinking about that. Like when we're going, sometimes, we're in fight or flight. We got to keep going. And that's how we get stressed, right? All the going adds to our stress. And so when you rest, it takes you out of that, fight or flight mode, right? It makes you just relax. It also boosts your creativity. It improves your productivity. I know this for a fact, okay? It improves productivity. When I started getting consistent sleep, literally the game changed for me. I thought I was always a productive person, right? I would consider myself, before I started using cannabis to get consistent sleep, I considered myself a productive person. But now I realized that I can be more productive in shorter bursts of time because I have mental clarity, right? Because I have energy. I'm not, having to use so much of my energy to just stay awake. I can use the energy that I have to focus on a task. So it improves your creativity, it improves your productivity, and it enhances your decision makings. Think about a time that you've made a decision that was while you were sleepy, or while you were exhausted, or while you were stressed, right? Was it the best decision while you were, tired or exhausted or burnt out or stressed? Are you making the best decisions? Are you making mistakes? Because you're so tired, right? Not because you're incapable, but because you're tired. and you're stressed and you don't have the energy, the mental clarity to be able to focus and to make the right decisions or to not make mistakes, right? So these are all benefits of rest. And I started to talk about it a little earlier, and I'll go a little bit more into my sleep story. My falling asleep driving for me was a serious wake up call because it was very scary. And luckily nothing, happened to me physically. And so, if you want to hear more about my story, listen to episode 0. That's where I talk about my story and I go deep into that moment and what it felt like and all that kind of stuff. But, going into that, like that was, it made me realize just how important rest was. And I realize now that I get consistent sleep, now that I'm on the other side of it, just how much more energized and productive and clear I am now that I get consistent sleep. I used to say I wasn't a morning person. Have you ever said to yourself, I'm not a morning person? Are you not a morning person, or are you not getting enough sleep? Because for me, I was not getting enough sleep to be functioning in the morning. I needed caffeine and sugar and all the things to get through the day. And then, I have a burst of energy in the evening, right? I'm going. I had that burst of energy. That's why I would always do my side hustles and my work after work, instead of getting up early, right? Some people get up early to do their side work and things like that. But I would always do it after work. Why? Because I didn't have the energy to get out of bed in the morning. But now that I get consistent sleep, my best, most clear times of the day is the morning. I get a lot of writing done in the morning. I'm really good at, kind of in the morning, just kind of like, just being creative and tapping into myself and all that kind of stuff. So it's so important to be able to get enough sleep. And 1/3 of Americans don't get enough sleep on a regular basis, according to the CDC. Is that you? Are you consistently getting 8 hours of sleep? Are you consistently getting restful sleep? Are you consistently able to wake up feeling energized? If you're not, one, you need to fix your sleep. And that's when my Sleep and Slay workshop comes in. So make sure you go to check out that workshop. But what you can do to help that is to create an evening routine. And I'll tell you, and I'll be honest, for me, creating an evening routine is important because I need to detach from the day, or my brain will get stuck replaying the day, right? And for so long, honestly, I had anxiety around bedtime because I knew I couldn't sleep. And that brought on anxiety at bedtime. So I didn't see it as sacred rejuvenation. I saw it as anxiety inducing, this again, right? So that's why for me, an evening routine is really important. It's important for me to treat sleep like a sacred, honorable, deserving thing, because it helps me to be so energized, because it helps me to function, because it helps me to be my best self when I get enough sleep. And because I know what it feels like to be on the other side of not getting enough sleep, this side is so much better. And so I did a little bit of research, and according to the Sleep Foundation, they say that evening routines are important because habits help our brain recognize when it's time to go to sleep. That's important. Having your brain understand, okay, now it is time to wind down. It's time to bring my energy down. It's time to start to go into that rest mode. It's start to go into that rejuvenation period. It's start to prepare itself to start repairing my body physically and to, just to really just bring down my stress level. That's what it's for. And that's what your eating routine is going to do. Because my evening routine includes cannabis, and it includes SelfCare, right? Shocker, right? Of course not. I'm going to tell you my evening routine in a bit, but I want you to really understand why it's important to have a signal to your brain that it's time for you to go to sleep. It helps. And because sleep is so sacred, because we need to honor sleep, that's why we need to make sure that we treat it as such, because this is one of our main ways of rejuvenating our body. We understand how important it is. We understand how crappy it is to not get enough sleep. At least I do. I'm telling you, I remember. I could feel it. Okay? And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to sleep. I want you to be on this side where you're of the coin, where you're actually getting consistent sleep on a regular basis. Okay, so now that we know how important it is to have an evening routine, to get sleep, all the good things, let's talk about some ways to add cannabis to the evening routine. How do we get cannabis involved? So, ways to consume cannabis. Smoking is most popular. But then if you're not a smoker, if you don't want to smoke, or you can't smoke in your building or whatever, we have other things. Tinctures are amazing for sleep. There's a tincture by Brown Girl Jane. So I'll link to that in the show notes, maryzeal.com/25 to get the show notes. And so that tincture is amazing. Infused tea. A hot, beautiful cup of tea at the end of the day that includes some CBD or some THC or, or any of the other cannabinoids that help with relaxation and sleep. Oh, so amazing. And again, I have a recommendation in the show notes from Twin Flame Tea. I love that company. They make this one called, it's something so cute with chamomile. I'm going to put it in the show note description. It's so cute. And so it's a chamomile, it's a sleep inducing tea, infused tea. It is infused with CBD. It's loose tea. So you just, brew it yourself. It's amazing. And also, speaking of infused tea, the infused honey exists, y'all. If you did not know CBD honey, infused honey, that exists. And it is amazing. And there's this Black-owned company that I love, that I buy, that I get their infused honeys from. So I'll link that to that in the show notes as well. And so there's different ways. So that's what I want you to kind of take away from this, is that there are different ways to consume. You don't have to smoke if you don't want to smoke. Smoking is great. There are vapes out there that have a ratio of CBD to THC that is great for inducing sleep and all that kind of stuff. So that's amazing. You also have just flower that you can get. You can smoke CBD. You can smoke THC, whatever it is. So if you want to go CBD route, if you want to go the more medicinal route, if you want to go the route that's not going to make you feel super high, then you want to go the CBD route. If you want to feel the high, you want to feel that euphoric feeling, you want to go the THC route. Or you can get a balance of both. If a mix of both will kind of give you a little bit of a balance. So those are some ways to actually use it to incorporate it into your evening routine. And so here's how we incorporate self-care. Here are things that you can do while you're high. So it's like your journaling, meditation, bedtime yoga, reading, stretching, long showers with some scented candles. Maybe your evening smoke is your self-care, because that's the only time that you can enjoy an uninterrupted joint, right? So many different ways that you can incorporate self-care. So what you want to do is pick something that's going to allow you to detach from the day, something that's going to allow you to clear your mind, right? So you don't want to pick something that's going to stress you out. Okay, don't pick something that's going to take you hours and hours to do, that's going to stress you out, that's going to make you think about work or make you think about your side hustle, whatever. Pick something that's just going to allow you to detach. Don't pick something that's going to fire you up. Like, if going for a run at the end of the day relaxes you, great. For me, when I go exercise, it fires me up and I'm ready to go. So I can't do that in the evening because that's going to make me be more stimulated. So I do things like journaling and meditation. I'm going to give you my evening routine as well in a second. One of the things I think this is awesome to do before incorporating in your evening routine is journaling. As I mentioned, I journal before. I try to journal before bed, and one of the things about journaling that's amazing before bed is that it gets all those thoughts that you have in your head out of your head. Before I go to bed, I'm thinking about the day. I'm thinking about what I did earlier, what I got to do tomorrow. But then, if you journal, you can kind of just write that stuff down, right? You don't need to do a journal prompt. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? We're not going for perfection here. We're just going for getting it out of your head. I have a book, literally, that is just my get it out of my head book. And it's not my journal. It's something where I'm like, if I have I have a thought going on in my head and I can't get it out, and I can't stop thinking about it, I write it down in that book. Or if I have something that's on my mind that I just need to get off my mind, I write it down and put it in that book. So writing is a great way to connect your thought to the present moment, for sure. All right. So now that you have some ideas on what you can do, I hope you're starting to get your brain flowing, getting some thoughts going there. Let me give you my evening routine to give you an idea of how this will look. So my evening routine includes me smoking a joint or my bong or whatever in my car, I can't smoke in my building currently. So I have to smoke in my car. But anyway, so I smoke in my car. And while I'm doing that, I listen to a relaxing podcast. I don't listen to business podcasts. I don't listen to podcasts that are going to make me want to go and do something. I listen to ones that just make me feel relaxing, or the host has like a relaxing voice, and just really kind of gets me to kind of reflect and stuff like that. One of the really good ones I listen to is Mind Witchery by Nicole Miller. It's a great podcast for sure. And one of the things I've also been doing lately is making time for silence. So lately I've been kind of like, after I listen to my podcast in the car, I will just pause the next podcast or whatever. And I'll just sit in my car for 5 or 10 minutes, just silence before I go back inside, just sitting there, being with my thoughts, breathing, looking around, listening to nature, make its natureful noises. Hi, of course. And just kind of sitting there and just making time for silence. That's really kind of helped me to wind down after the day as well. Another thing I do is I journal. So I have a little journal. It's literally probably enough room to write a paragraph, like maybe 2 paragraphs, and it includes lines for gratitude and an affirmation. And so I do that before I go to bed. And so if you want to learn more about journaling specifically, listen to episode 13 is where I really go into journaling with a guest, and she actually makes journals. So if you are looking for one, go to that episode show notes, maryzeal.com/13, and check out her journals. So journaling, awesome to do before bed. Next thing I do is I will read a book. If you listen to my New Year's resolution episode, it was early in one of the first episodes of the podcast. And one of the things I wanted to do is read more books. I'm not a natural reader. I'm not someone who can get through a book really quickly. So I wanted to challenge myself and read books this year. So one of the things I built into my evening routine is reading a book. And one thing, and it's so interesting, like, some people can get really kind of caught up in a book or, go really down the rabbit hole. But I heard on this podcast one time, I cannot remember the name of the podcast for the life of me, but they had a guest on, and the guest was talking about setting a minimum and a maximum when you're trying to accomplish a goal or form a new habit. So he was saying something like, say before bed, I want to, I want reading to be my habit, right? And I'll say like, I'll read at least 1 page, but I'll read no more than 10 pages. So I don't get sucked in and not get any sleep, right? But then I also have an attainable goal, right? Like 10 pages a night I can do, up to 10 pages a night I can do it. There are some times when I'll just like, let me just read at least 1. And of course I'll maybe read a few more, but there are times when I'll read like 3 or 4 pages and I'm like, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I just want to go to bed. So I'm like, and that lets me off the hook, right? I don't feel like, oh, I have to read at least 10 pages or, I'm not going to get through this book in X amount of time. What I'm doing is just kind of giving myself a little grace and just saying like, hey, just read at least 1 page. If you read a couple more, that's great. But don't read any more than 10, because if you're really into the book and you read more than 10, you're not going to get any sleep. So try that out for you. Try that out for yourself or for one of your things in your eating routine, and let me know how it is, because I'm really curious, because it's been pretty good for me. So after I do that, after I read a book, I will hit my bong one more time, and then I go to sleep. Because I really do, for me personally, I need to smoke right before I go to bed. Like the time from being in my car and smoking to, getting in the house and doing my other, evening routine, like taking my contacts out, showering, all that kind of stuff, journaling, reading a book, and then starting to really like close my eyes. I need another hit of the bong to really just kind of take me out. And sometimes I'll listen to a sleep meditation or a sleep story. The Calm app has some great sleep stories and sleep meditations on there. They're like adult bedtime stories, or some sleep sounds or something like that. I also have a white noise machine that's a snooze. It's really good. I'll also leave a link into the in the description as well. So there are a few different. So there's different things you can do, right? So what you should really kind of take away from my evening routine is not that this is a perfect routine, right? Like this is not a science-backed perfect evening routine, right? This is something that works for me. This helps me to signal to my brain that it's time to go to bed. It helps me to get more in the mood to really just like unwind and detach from the day and have a more restful sleep, because I'm not really stressed out about what happened during the day. I can kind of get those thoughts out of my head onto paper and just release them, or have my quiet time and and just kind of detach. Okay. So here's some tips for creating your own routine, because I hope that all this information has gotten your juices flowing, your brain thinking, and really starting to think about what your evening routine would look like. So some tips. One, set a bedtime. I really try hard to stick to my bedtime, but honestly, it is hard because I work. My other job is West Coast hours, and I live on the East Coast, so I work into the evenings to the late evenings sometimes. So it's really hard to kind of stick to a bedtime. But I do have a reminder on my phone that tells me it's bedtime, and so I try to stick to that as much as I can. So try to stick to a bedtime. I know it's not perfect, but stick to a bedtime. Another tip, make time for silence or meditation. That's what I mentioned earlier. Like, I've been taking that 10 minutes after I finish listening to a podcast before I go back inside to really just kind of sit in my car and listen to nature and listen, just really make time for silence. And it really honestly helps to clear the chatter, clear the mind, calm the noise of the day, and just listening to silence, right? It's especially when you're high, it's definitely meditative for sure. So whether you're taking time for like a guided meditation, maybe you're doing a sleep meditation or something like that, try to build that into your day. Another tip is to try out some sleep sounds or meditation or white noise. If you've never slept or tried to sleep to white noise or rain or something like that, you might want to try it out, because I found this stat from the Sleep Foundation that said that pink noise like rain or waves has been shown to improve sleep quality, while white noise may help you fall asleep faster by masking other sounds. So try it out. And the last tip I have is to cut your phone time before bed. And I knew I had to put this on there. And I know I can hear your eyes rolling. I roll my eyes at myself. Okay. But seriously, like the blue light emission that comes from our phones keeps our brain active and awake. And so I found out that from the National Center for Biotechnology Informations, they said that the strong blue light coming from electronics suppresses melatonin production. Okay, so it really is interacting with our brains, y'all, and it's keeping us from being able to sleep. So whether that's deciding, okay, this is sleep, this is cutoff time, right? Just saying like, hey, I've laid in my bed, I've scrolled for a little while, but now I'm officially turning my phone off, saying my good nights, turning on do not disturb, or turning my phone over, or putting it away from me, and just decide. Have a time where I'm just like, I'll scroll a little bit, but now I'm officially cutting off, turning off all my electronics. And maybe that's that time where you take that 10 minutes for silence, and just really kind of just lay there, awake, breathe, hear the silence, and then, try to drift off into sleep, or turn on your sleep meditation, turn on your white noise machine, or whatever you do. But we got to detach from our phones. I'm really trying. That's one of the things I'm working on too, is detaching myself from my phone. So if you have any tips, just let me know, because I need them. So that is it for today, y'all. Make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast on your platform of choice, and leave a review. I really want to know what you think, whether you took some nuggets away from this episode or any of the other podcasts. Please leave me a review below, and make sure that you register for Sleep and Slay Stoned workshop on Saturday, July 24th. Head over to maryzeal.com/sleepslaystoned. The link is also in the show notes. And if you want to learn how to really use cannabis for sleep, the ins and outs, the details, everything that I do that will really benefit you and just, make you have amazing sleep, make sure you sign up for this workshop, y'all. OMG, I could talk about that all day, sis. Want to get more insights like this to your inbox every week? Say less. Just head over to maryzeal.com/subscribe to join our newsletter.